On today's Primetime Local News, Sobeys takes the lead in getting rid of plastic checkout bags in all of their stores across the country. City surveys 100 businesses to tackle Texas' economic downturn and other issues for 2020. Plus, Alberta government wants farmers' inputs on agricultural spending moving forward.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
City administration presented the results from the 2019 Economic Development Business Survey at Tuesday's GPC meeting. Josh Ryan has more on what data can be taken from the document and what the city is likely to prioritize.
In trying to move forward with strategies to make Lloydminster a more attractive spot for businesses, this survey is meant to identify key strengths and issues.
To get 100 businesses in 1 week to give us a quick idea of where they were at, I think that was a good starting point.
There are limited specifics in the data to work with, but administration hopes to find that through this as a starting point.
We have large corporations that really have a different need than a small home business based, right? So we need that survey to really apply to everybody so that everyone was able to provide their feedback and get more specifics, really nail down and find out the issues from small businesses, large corporations, and get a little bit more fine-tunement of what they want to see and what they need from us as a city.
In the extended economic downturn in the region, two issues largely agreed upon by the respondents were tax increases and road conditions.
I know where I live, when I take 36th, there's a spot where it drains and the road keeps just bubbling up, and every year there are potholes there in the spring. And I would venture that roads might even be a higher concern if we waited till spring and the melt and look at the quality of the roads.
An encouraging section was the two-year outlook. 37% of respondents are leaning towards expansion, while only 10% expect to sell, downsize, or close.
Our community is built on resilience, and we've been through the worst, I hope, of the oil and gas industry pricing and things like that. So it looks good going forward.
When you see that, I think it's close to 60% when you add the growth and staying the same. That reflects 6 out of 10 businesses. So when you carry that forward, I think that's positive.
Even if those improvements occur, the city is continuing to look at diversifying the economy.
There are other little pieces, I think, that are beginning to emerge. And as we grow, I think, certainly you see the craft beer industry is one of those where people with our median age and young population are gravitating to.
Now in-depth discussions are next in order to find the best path forward for all local businesses.
Our manager meets quarterly along with our economic development and asks questions with parts of our business community, and I think it's important for us to continue to sort of explore those areas so we have a better understanding of what they might be and what we can do as a city to make this a better place for business, a better place for families.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local News.
Sobeys all across Canada will be eliminating plastic bags at their checkout stands starting at the end of January. Sobeys is the first national retail grocery store to eliminate single-use checkout bags across Canada. By being environmentally friendly and reducing waste, they'll be switching from plastic bags to reusable bags. Customers will need to either bring their own bags or purchase one from Sobeys at the checkout.
We've got totes, we've got insulated totes, we've got t-shirt reusable bags, we've got bags for life, which we call, and that is a bag that if it rips, tears, is soiled, you choose not to use it again, you bring it back and we'll replace it at no cost.
Starting on January 31st, it's estimated that this will get rid of 225 million plastic bags every year.
We've started talking to the public for quite some time now, and the feedback that we're getting is on the most part, very positive, and a lot of people have already for the last few weeks, months, have been using our Bags for Life or reusable bags.
Sobeys Liquor is also following suit by removing plastic bags at the end of the month. A new exhibit is coming to the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Centre, and there's a chance for you to be a part of it. The exhibit, called Lloyd Collects, which opens February 25th, will explore the psychology of collecting, and the public can contribute to the exhibit.
Lloyd Collects is an exhibit that's looking at kind of the psychology and the history of collecting. And along with kind of that text panel stuff, we were hoping to get some interest from the community and showcase some of the collections that people here in Lloydminster and area have hiding in their homes that, you know, they might want to show off.
The exhibit will feature collections including Lego, shells, and other never-before-seen items. The LCSC needs help from residents to make the exhibit a success. Members of the public who have collections can submit to the Center for Displays. The LCSC will borrow only a few items from people's collections for the exhibit.
We don't want your whole collection. Like if you have 1,000 G.I. Joes or something, I can't house them all. So, and that's a lot for you to bring in as well. So I'm hoping that maybe you could bring in 10, a dozen, just enough to like a 1 foot by 1 foot plinth and showcase a little bit of what you are and what you have. So a segment of your collection.
The exhibit will be open from February 25th until April 25th. You can submit your collection for consideration online at lloydminster.ca/Lloyd Collects form. Submissions are open until January 31st. In 1985, French immersion was introduced in LCSD. Since then, it has grown significantly in size and continues to grow every year. This year, LCSD and École St. Thomas School is celebrating 35 years of French immersion. Our Abby St. John finds out how LCSD and St. Thomas is celebrating the big day in this week's Beyond the Classroom.
Every year, École St. Thomas School celebrates Carnival. This year, they're also celebrating 35 years of French immersion in Lloydminster. However, the celebration goes further.
The Minister of Education in Saskatchewan, Honourable Gord Wyant, proclaimed 50 years of French immersion in Saskatchewan and 50 years of the Official Languages Act. And so it's a big deal across the province, and we wanted to highlight the fact that we've been doing this as well for 35 years. So we always celebrate Carnival. This is not something new. French Education Week is a very special week for us, and so we thought we'd put it together and pay tribute to where we've been over the past 35 years.
When French immersion was introduced in Lloyd, the government added a kindergarten and grade 1 class, and every year they added a grade, they phased out an English grade.
They started with 38 students, and when I came in 2002, we had 148 students in the program, and the program had grown into the high school. And by the time we celebrated our 25th, we had about 300 and some students, and now we have 550 students. And every year we add a form to be able to accommodate the requests from parents to have this program for their children. So it has been an incredible journey.
For LCSD's Director of Education, Nigel McCarthy, who went through French immersion when he was in school, having a French immersion education opens up more opportunities for students.
It's given me all sorts of opportunities, both in Canada and internationally, that I wouldn't otherwise have had. You know, and it gives you the ability to communicate with Francophones in your own country in a way that promotes an access between cultures. And I think for me, that's the joy of a French immersion school, and the joy of watching 550 to 600 students learn and play and live together en français.
French immersion has grown exponentially in the city since it was introduced, something McCarthy accredits to the educators.
On a proportionate basis, French immersion has certainly been very popular for our kids and our families, and that's a credit to the people that are here in the school. It's really about the teachers and the leaders when it comes to a French immersion program, because that's where the quality of it comes from.
LCSD will be celebrating their 35th anniversary at the opening ceremonies of Carnival on February 4th at 9 a.m. It's open to the public. For this week's Beyond the Classroom, I'm Abby St. John.
Beyond the Classroom is brought to you by Lakeland College. Apply today to environmental sciences. Study soils, plants, ecosystems, wildlife, and more.
It's a bit rainy and icy. With more on the weather, here's our Abby St. John.
Thanks, Judy. Taking a look, current temperatures -6 here in Lloydminster. We're experiencing some light freezing rain snow mixture. Lloydminster alone is under a freezing drizzle advisory, so definitely be cautious about that as it could continue overnight and into tomorrow, hopefully dying off by the afternoon. About 2 centimeters is predicted, so definitely be cautious when driving or walking anywhere as the roads will be quite slick and icy. 10-kilometer-per-hour winds coming in from the northeast and making it feel closer to -10 with that wind chill. Across Alberta, -6 also out in Edmonton, -5 in Red Deer, Athabasca and Cold Lake, -4 in Edson, -3 in Rocky Mountain House, -2 in Whitecourt, and -1 out in Jasper. And on the Saskatchewan side, -3 in Meadow Lake, -9 in Melfort, -5 in Saskatoon, -6 in Prince Albert and in North Battleford. Overnight in North Battleford, they'll remain fairly cloudy into tomorrow, with the temperature dropping tonight to -12, and that wind will be at 11 kilometers per hour coming in from the southeast, and then drop to 9 kilometers per hour coming in from the same direction tomorrow, with a daytime high of -4. In Cold Lake overnight, they'll be a little bit more clear than they are now, with the temperature dropping to -12, and that wind will be at 9 kilometers per hour coming in from the south-southeast, and then pick up to 15 kilometers per hour tomorrow coming in from the same direction, with a daytime high of -4 and a fairly cloudy day. Here in Lloydminster overnight, we will probably continue to experience that freezing rain snow mix, and the temperature will drop to -11, and that wind will be at 11 kilometers per hour coming in from the south-southeast and pick up to 15 kilometers per hour tomorrow coming in from the same direction, with a daytime high of -6, which will feel closer to -16 with that wind chill, and a low of -11. On Friday, it will be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -3, which will feel closer to -9 and a low of -9. On Saturday, to start your weekend off, it will be mostly sunny skies with a high of -1, which will feel closer to -11 with that wind chill, and a low of -6. That's a look at your 3-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. The government of Alberta is holding public engagement sessions around the province, gathering farmers' input on how research money should be spent for agriculture. And our Eric Bay has more.
The farmer-led research engagement sessions give producers the chance to take the lead, voicing their opinions on which areas are important to them.
What we call farmer-led research, and the purpose of these sessions is to gather information from farmers and ranchers and industry organizations about their views on agriculture research, and we're looking at how do we move forward to make sure that farmers and ranchers get the best benefit from the research dollars spent in Alberta.
After 3 sessions, the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry has heard a wide range of ideas on the best way to spread those research dollars.
As we gather information, we're going to be analyzing it and putting together a recommendation, but certainly we've heard lots of various opinions about how it should be done, and we're just taking it all into consideration, and we'll roll that up into a series of recommendations that will go forward to the Minister.
With the farmers leading the sessions, producers are able to take charge at this stage of the process.
We want to get the grassroots input into how do we make sure that the model that we move forward with best serves the ranching and farming industry.
With the chance to talk about their future, farmers have been actively participating in the sessions.
We've had sessions that have been sold out, and we've had to add more seats, so interest is very high, and we find that very encouraging because it means that farmers are engaged and they want to provide us with their input.
The government will be accepting feedback in person or online until January 31st. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
And now here are your agriculture prices for today.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Tonight, the Civic Center will play host to two northern opponents, both battling for the playoffs. The Lloydminster Bobcats will take on the Grand Prairie Storm. The Bobcats are coming off a split weekend where they took on the best of the South, winning against the top team in Canada. The Brooks Bandits has given the Cats confidence.
If we can find an effort like we had there and keep it consistent in the second half, I think that's a big part, and we've talked a lot about just the consistency from day to day.
This season, the Bobcats have dropped their previous 4 matchups against the Storm, with 2 of the losses being 1-goal games. Dubé added that the team is changing their system around to win those kinds of games. Amar Wayne Jr. hockey player is being honored for his play this past week. Zane Franklin of the Kamloops Blazers scored 10 points over a 4-game span, earning him the WHL Player of the Week. To add, Franklin was also selected for the CHL Team of the Week. Franklin currently sits in first place in WHL scoring with 72. And now a look at your weather with our Abby St. John.
Taking a look at our satellite radar, lots of the mix of snow and rain making its way here. We have been experiencing a light drizzle of that freezing rain, which we're under an advisory about, which will continue overnight and into tomorrow. About 2 centimeters of snow will fall, and it should die off by the afternoon. But outside of the Edmonton area, experiencing that Vegreville, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, Lac La Biche, St. Paul, Marwayne, Vermilion, Wainwright, all experiencing that light drizzle. And then on the Saskatchewan side as well, North Battleford's Maidstone, St. Walburg, Meadow Lake, just that light freezing rainfall and little bit of cloud coverage over the past couple of hours as well. -6 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Pearson, Maidstone, North Battleford, and Green Lake. -2 in Macklin, -8 in St. Walburg, -3 in Meadow Lake, -7 in Isle of Cross. And on the Alberta side, -6 in Marwayne and Edmonton, -3 in Provost, -5 in Wainwright, Vermilion, Vegreville, and Cold Lake and Bonnyville, and -4 in St. Paul and in Lac La Biche. And tomorrow, -6 here in Lloydminster, -5 in Marwayne and St. Paul, -1 out at Edmonton, -3 in Provost, and -4 in Wainwright, Vermilion, Vegreville, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Lac La Biche. And on the Saskatchewan side, -5 in Isle of Cross and Maidstone, -3 in Green Lake and Macklin, -4 in Pearson, Meadow Lake, and in North Battleford, and -5 in Maidstone. And then overnight across the region, fairly cloudy skies in Meadow Lake, Isle of Cross, Pearson, Unity, Bonnyville, Provost, and Wainwright. And then a little bit more clear skies in Paradise Hill and Murnum. And then -13 in Meadow Lake and Isle of Cross, and in Paradise Hill and Murnum, -12 in Pierceland and Unity, -11 in Bonnyville, and -10 in Provost and Wainwright for your overnight temperatures. And then your school day forecast for tomorrow at 8 a.m. it'll be -10, which will remain that way until lunchtime, which will be about -7, and fairly cloudy skies throughout the entirety of the day. And then by the time school is out, it will be -6. And then your overnight temperature for tomorrow will be -11. And then on Friday, it'll be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -3 and a low of -9. To start your weekend off on Saturday, it will be a fairly sunny day with a high of -1 and a low of -6. On Sunday, a little bit more cloudier day with a high of -4 and a low of -10. And then back on Monday to start your week off, it'll be a fairly cloudy day with a high of -3 and a low of -6. And then on Tuesday, it'll be a fairly cloudy day with a high of -4 and a low of -11. And then on Wednesday, it'll also be a high of -4 and a low of -11. However, we'll see a lot more sun than on Tuesday with just a little bit of cloud coverage. That is a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news in the question of the day coming up after the break.
This is a question for those people who love to travel and love to drink. Spain cracks down on booze-fueled tourists, banning pub crawls,
happy hours, party boats, and binge drinking. So the question is, do you think this will hurt their tourism industry? Of course it will. I mean, the kind of people that they get over there are like the DJs, the partiers, the celebrities, and that's what they do, is they party, they drink, and, you know, do all crazy stuff. But it's unfortunate, but they have to do something, right?
Yeah, just going off of the comments that we got, one lady chimed in saying it depends on their age, on the age that is going. I think it will hurt the tourist industry in the sense of young adults going for spring break, vacation, all that kind of stuff. They'll definitely lose a lot of those people. And then another, just, you know, it just depends on the situation. And because Ibiza is a very party-fueled area in Spain, that's going to hurt them in that area, as one comment pointed out. Just the more party areas in Spain are going to lose a lot of those people because they go because it's a beautiful, warm place where they can party for
it's
their
a party
spring break.
place. A lot of people drink. Obviously, when you go to a vacation, you want to be able to drink. The interesting part about this place, Spain, is that they've decided to stop selling liquor and drinks by 9:30 p.m. And then you can buy it again at 8 in the morning. I don't know who drinks like that, but you know what I mean? Binge drinkers, of course.
And a lot of these people aren't just going out till like 10 or 11, so their night's already over before they even want to go out.
Yeah, that's true. Well, drink in your, I guess, hotel room and not go outside staggering and jumping off the balconies, right, into the pools. On that note, let's take a look at the pets. Thanks for sending your pet pics for a chance to win a gift card from the Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Well, this weather is really cold and it's affecting a lot of people, but it's not just people that it's affecting. It's also the cold that's affecting your home. We've got Home Inspector Alden Reed. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about this. Obviously, you're going to give us some tips on, you know, ourselves and our homes and stuff like that. Let's talk about the different styles of homes and the unique issues that every house gets.
Well, first of all, the weather affects your house not just in the wintertime, but all the time. So in the summertime, however, it's easy to fix, right? So if you get a rainstorm, then you can deal with it. It's not too uncomfortable. But in the wintertime, it's a lot more difficult. And if you're laying under your trailer at -40, then you know, I should have fixed this sooner.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people, I'm sure, you know, look at their houses. One person who had like a frozen wall when they moved a dresser, and so it was frostbite. How did that get in? Like, how does cold get into your home?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's different types of homes. So the standard home is well insulated. The homes that most of us live in today are newer, so the insulation package and everything is in pretty good condition. We build our homes to be safer and warmer and healthier today, but you know, not all homes were like that. So probably there's some houses in Lloyd here that are probably 100 years old. So we'd say in the 1920s to the 1960s, your home wouldn't have had a real great insulation package, and it might not have had vapor barrier, most likely wouldn't have vapor barrier. So you might see frost coming through the wall, like you said, because the vapor barrier is not there to stop it. And condensation forms. Sometimes the light switch covers are frosted up and you touch them and they're cold. So that's all pretty common stuff.
Speaking of that, how does that affect your health in terms of being at home, all this cold is coming into your home? It does affect you somehow, right?
For sure. Well, a lot of people like to get closed up in their home, so they shut their house right up and they get in there and they wrap up in a blanket and they don't want to leave till spring. And I understand that. But when you're all closed up in your house like that, you oftentimes, especially in the older homes, so if your home is built in the 50s, let's say, your fresh air intake is not as good as it would be in a home built today. So as a result, you're breathing the same air over and over again, you're reheating the same air over and over again. And by doing that as well, you're drying the air out. So when you dry that air out, It causes your throat to be sore. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, your mouth is dry, and unless you have some sort of a humidification system, but most people don't. And that even gives you, makes you more susceptible to colds and flu and all other types of respiratory problems.
Isn't that interesting? We never think about that kind of stuff, but obviously there's a lot of recommendations you can do in homes that we have here. Obviously you're from Nova Scotia, you were saying it's a bit different there. They have rock kind of, they have bricks for homes, right?
It is
like
different.
in terms of making their homes,
Yeah, well, and even here there's different homes. So you could live in a home that's 1960s, like I said, that's not as well insulated, that's drafty and so on, but you might also live in a trailer. And right now, people who live in trailers, especially the older trailers that were built, say, in the 1970s to the late 80s, they weren't insulated very well. They didn't have very good windows. And under the belly bag, where the insulation and all the piping is, that particular area is susceptible to the cold. So you have to do what you, basically, you have to keep it insulated, you have to heat trace and all that sort of stuff. So even acreages, you could have wells and septics that cause problems in the cold weather. If everything is done right, you generally don't have a problem. But even then, sometimes you have problems. And when it happens in the wintertime, you don't want to be digging up your septic, for instance, in the wintertime. It's very costly.
For sure. So, there are things that you should not do, obviously, when you have this. And I mean, you mentioned a few, but
Well, first of all, when you discover a problem, don't panic. Because it took a while for that ice to form in your water lines, let's say, and it's going to take a while for you to thaw it out. But if you panic and you go at it like you want to fix it in half an hour, maybe a lot of people would use an open flame. You don't want to be doing that. That's a fire hazard. In particular, you don't want to climb under your trailer, for instance, and start that flame up, because a lot of people burn their houses down doing that. So you don't want to be doing that. Other things that you don't want to do to create heat in your home is maybe if you have a wood stove, don't burn things in your wood stove that are not designed to be burned. It's a certified system that is designed for wood. The manufacturer, the model, the manual rather will tell you how to do it. If you go outside of that norm, then you could have problems. Don't bring in a construction heater, right?
Smart,
A propane construction heater, for instance, will give off carbon monoxide. Think it through. Ask yourself, what's the safest way to do this? Take it easy, slow it down, and the big thing really with cold weather is we know it's coming. It comes every year. It's predictable, right? If you think that you're going to live in Canada and not have cold weather, especially in Lloydminster, you are going to have cold weather. So be prepared ahead of time. Don't wait until it's minus 40 to react because it's going to be costly and it's going to be hard for you to deal with it then.
We're running out of time, but I do want to ask you where people can get a hold of you. I knew you were talking about being very thorough in helping people, and you have a competition, $100 or something like that, some kind of thing that's happening on your website.
Yes, on my Facebook page, actually, Border Home Inspections. If you join the conversation, which is called Ask the Inspector Group, just ask a question, and I'll try to do my best to answer it. The nice thing about being a home inspector in Lloydminster over a long period of time, like I have, is I've got a great network of good people, plumbers and electricians and builders. If I don't know the answer, then I'll get you the answer. And it's all free. So if you join that conversation between now and February 5th, then you're entered into a draw for a $100 gift card.
Beautiful.
To your restaurant of your choice.
Beautiful. That is awesome. Make sure to check it out. Home Inspection with Alden Reed. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Border Home Inspections.
Beautiful.
Hey, it's Justin Marshall from Hot 101.3 and Boom 95.3 radio stations around the Lakeland. And here's what's going on in the area. Well, in Bonnyville, coming up this Friday night, Robbie Burns' Eve Party right here at the Bonnyville Legion. And you know him, president of the Legion, Jamie Beaupre joins me now. So what's going on Friday? Doors open at 5.
We're going to have some haggis. We're going to have some turnips. We're going to have some mashed potatoes. We're going to go with the old Scottish traditional dish for Robbie Burns Day.
$12. You could get more details on our Facebook page, Boom 95.3. We're right behind the bar. We're getting a new one right now.
Yeah, we're in the middle of building a brand new bar. We're, after 70-some years, we're retiring the old girl here. We got a new location for our bar. We kind of made more room. We have more room for our piano man and our jams and everything coming up in the future here. So yeah, it's going to be a good time, and it cleans our room up.
And for people that don't know about Robbie Burns Day, why do we celebrate?
Well, Robbie Burns is an electrician in Bonnyville. Sorry, different Robbie Burns.
Yeah.
Robbie Burns is a Scottish poet that wrote a lot of songs and a lot of different material that we all know of today. And we're just going to celebrate him because that's kind of what Legions do.
Well, Jamie, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And if you have an event you would like to feature on What's Happening, shoot me an email, jmarshall@stingray.com.